Hi everyone, welcome back to Brookdale Farm. Well, we're going to be hay cutting in probably about a week's time. We're going to start. The oats are pretty close to ready, so we've dragged the baler out of the shed to do a little bit of work to it. Now this is a New Holland Hayliner 317 that we're using here, and if we come down the back end here, they've got this hydraulic cylinder in here, and this is what keeps the pressure on the bale. So your bales are being made in here, and this cylinder puts downward pressure on this bar here, which keeps the bale squashed in the chamber. The more downward pressure you put on there, and this has got a bit of a taper on it, then so the chamber's bigger at that end than this end, that stops the hay coming out too fast. So the more downward pressure we put on here, the heavier the bales are going to be packed. It's driven by this unit up here. This is a hydraulic reservoir with a hydraulic pump down here, pressure gauge here, and a knob here to set the pressure. So this has just got a variable relief valve in it that you can set your pressure on. The higher the pressure, the harder this squeezes, and the heavier your bales. Now this hydraulic ram in here has always leaked. So today we're going to take this ram off and take it apart so that we can get new seals and stuff for it. So the first thing we're going to do here is undo the two hydraulic lines. This one is a pressure line, and I'm pretty sure this one is a return line. And I think the regulator down there actually just works as a tap on the return line. So the further you turn the tap off, the less oil can return through here and the more pressure you get in here. So we'll whip them off quickly. Next we're going to undo these two bolts on either side, which hold the whole sort of unit on, noting how far down the bolt they are. So this one's 4 threads down. We want to make sure that we put them back in approximately the same position. Now that we've got these two off, we can lift this frame up here, and we're just going to put a couple of blocks of wood in under here to hold it up. This will give us access to some bolts that are down in under here. Okay, now that we've got this frame lifted up, there's a bolt here on either side, and that's just going to disconnect the ram from this bottom plate here. Once we've undone them, this whole section here will just lift off. Okay, now we've undone all of those bits, this should just lift off. And we've got, well, turns out we didn't have to undo those bolts, although there is a pin that goes through here which probably should attach to something in there, which is not currently connected. Next, there is a row of bolts around here, bolt heads, nuts on this side, so we'll just undo all of them and then the ram should come apart. Okay, so we've got all these bolts off. Now this cover just comes off, and there's that bit that should have been pinned onto the end of there. So we'll have to find another pin for that. And up in here is the piston. Let me turn it around into the sun so you can get a better look. Yep, there's the bit of broken pin down in there. Oh, that's easy, the piston just slides out. There's a piece of the broken pin that would have held that together in the past. Bores in there all look pretty good. And that's just got a big cup washer on it, and that's pretty hard old rubber. So I'll go down and get another one of them, and we'll reassemble this. Okay, so we've got our new seal. Looks exactly the same as the old one, but interestingly, when you put them next to each other, there is a bit of a size difference. The old one is definitely worn and squashed in round here. It's too small a difference to see on the camera, but there is a difference. Now we've cleaned up the cylinder and it's come up reasonably well down in here. There's still a few little marks and stuff. You're never going to get it perfect again. I have just run down there with a cylinder hone. It had cross hatching on it already. That's just taken off any of the high points where there's a few spots in here where it's been dinged over time and things like that. So now we can reassemble all of this back together again. Okay, the first thing we want to do is reassemble our piston. Now this bolt here did have Loctite on it when I pulled it apart, so we're going to put Loctite back on it again. Just to make sure everything's clean, we'll give it a quick spray of contact cleaner. This is a really fast drying cleaner that is mainly used for electrical stuff. Takes grease off really, really well. Sit our seal on top here. Oh, this must be good Loctite. And just a little tiny bit on the threads here. The lid back on that before I knock it over. And this just has a big washer with a screw in it to hold it together. Okay, now this just fits back in our cylinder here, but before we put it in, we're going to give everything a really good oil up. And we want to just carefully ease this in so that it doesn't get anything caught on it. Doesn't get the edge of the seal caught as it's going in. And that slides beautifully. Next, we need to reassemble this shaft that the piston pushes on with this bit on top. Now this had a broken roll pin in it initially, or before. So we're going to remember all the bits. This bit goes on over the top. Then next that goes on. Now the roll pin is actually loose in the hole in here and just fits tight into there. Now everything got a little bit burred when all of these pieces came apart before. We'll just tap this into place. Okay, and this roll pin is just slightly long. Then that all gets reassembled back on there with using the correct bolts, which are the longer ones. We'll just put a little bit of oil on these as we're reassembling it. Okay, we'll just quickly tighten up all of these. Next we want our blocks of wood back in place. And we're going to lift this back into place where it should be. Now we need to get it the right way round. The large fitting for the large hose goes to the front and the smaller hose has the smaller fitting at the back. We can just lift it back onto the bolts, which you just need at least 3 hands to do. And we'll put a bit of oil on these nuts as well. Make sure we screw these nuts down as far as they were. They were 4 threads down, so that needs to be just a little bit further. That's about right there. We'll do the same on the other side. Now, lift this up as high as we can get it to just give us a bit more room underneath to put those last 2 bolts in. Now we've got these 2 shorter bolts which go in down here to hold the piston onto the compression piece down here. And these ones are a little bit awkward to get into. Okay, the last thing we need to do is to put these two hydraulic lines back on. Now these have got a very, very fine thread on them here, so you just need to be careful not to cross thread them. Then we can take the two blocks of wood out that are holding it up. And we're pretty much all done here. So I do need to get some more oil and just top the oil up. And then when I've got a tractor that's not hooked up to something else, I'll hook it up and run it up and just make sure that we don't have too many leaks here anymore, as well as oiling up everything else while I'm doing that. Anyway, I hope some of you have found this little video useful. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.